Hi, I'm Luke, the Climate Change Research Team Manager, and welcome to the Professor Burke Show on Channel 14. This is Steven, the team's climate scientist. Will the health of humans be affected by climate change? Well, what do you guys think? Our research team believes that the human health will be affected by climate, and the climate of change is the characteristic of weather condition in place for a long period of time. This could be a huge issue for humans because different climates could affect the way plants and food grow. First, we'll start with Steven.
Okay, so what is my first question?
Okay, so what is GMO?
GMO is genetically modified organisms. A GMO is, to simply put it, when scientists take a normal food and then inject the DNA of another organism into the food to make a new food. Some examples of popular genetically modified foods are Doritos, Kellogg's, Bisquick, Betty Crocker, General Mills, Duncan Hines, and many others. The problem is that the fact when there's a GMO in a certain food, it is normally not labeled on the packaging, so people don't even know what they're eating sometimes.
Thank you for sharing. I had no idea, and I'm sure some of our viewers will be shocked by that information also. Are you ready for another tough question?
Yes, I am.
How does human activity affect the increase of malaria?
With the humid and desert climate in Africa and human activity emitting greenhouse gases, the global temperature will increase, and consequently, this will cause the humidity to rise greatly. This means that the climate is adjusting to the advantage of mosquitoes. With a humid climate, mosquitoes will bite us and their population will increase. And in places like Africa that don't have many medicines, people will continue to become infected and die from these mosquito-borne illnesses. There has been many cases of malaria in the state of Massachusetts as well. Since we are in a subtropic climate zone, there are many mosquitoes around during the spring and summer, so our chances of malaria are larger as to a region of polar climate.
Thank you. Lastly, what can we do to improve or prevent these problems with malaria and GMOs?
If we can decrease the production of factories and human activity a lot, less greenhouse gases will be released into the atmosphere, making the climate less warm for mosquitoes to strike with malaria. We need more fertile land to be preserved for farming and not factories, so there will be more land cleared to start growing native foods again like corn, beans, etc.
Goodbye, Stephen. And thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is Christy, the environmental scientist. Hello, Christy. Your question is, how does the ozone layer protect us from the sun?
Well, the ozone layer protects us because it absorbs most of the sun's rays. A way we can stop this is not using as much chemicals like chlorofluorocarbons, commonly known as CFCs, halons, carbon tetrachloride, methylchlorofoam, and methyl bromide into the atmosphere. The secondhand cigarette smoke can cause pollution too. Natural sources like volcano ash and wildfire smoke can pollute the air, which will affect the ozone layer dramatically over time, which needs to stop. Air pollution is mostly found where things are being concentrated, like large cities.
Thank you very much. Now how will the weather conditions change the way we grow food?
If we get too much water or too much sun, the plants will either drown in the water or dry out. The only way to really stop this is by growing plants indoors, but some places aren't able to do that. Droughts occur mostly in the South and Midwest, and farmers who are in those parts won't be able to grow crops, such as corn. When there is a drought and it's where we get food, it causes us to pay more for that since there's not a lot of it. In California, the drought takes place. The prices are rising 3.5% this year. If we keep paying more, people will lose money, which will cause economical problems.
Thank you, Christy. This is Danielle, the conservation scientist. Now we will ask a couple questions to Danielle. What map shows weather conditions that will cause effect of our environment?
Maps that show weather conditions that will change our environment is maps that show the weather of that day and the wind currents. When we watch the news, it shows us whether it will be sunny or cold. The days that are sunny, our plants won't get as wet, so we would have to water them ourselves. When we do that, we use too much water and it can be filled, and then it would dry out after because it used too much. In California, as Christy said, it's a drought. so we have to be conserved of our water.
Thank you, Danielle. Now, how does water vapor affect human health?
Water vapor can either be solidified or in a liquid state. The more water we use, like as people use macaroni, they boil too much water and wait for it to evaporate. It can go into the air current and change it.
Thank you. Lastly, what can we do to improve these problems with the water vapor?
Well, when people use too much, they have to wait for it to go away, like evaporate. So we would have to start measuring it, and researchers from MIT have been investigating it, and they have fog harvesters, and they can produce water from thin air.
Thanks. And I will start doing that more. Great. How does aerosol affect human health?
Aerosol can affect human health because the sprays, it can go into people's lungs and mess up their breathing, so we can use solidified air fresheners instead.
In conclusion, human health is at risk from climate change. These are solutions which we have started that can decrease the risks for human health. We need to decrease the level of human activity. Thank you, Danielle, for your important information. Bye.